good, y'all? It's Ball Nowhere Blaze, or BKB, and today I want to get into my personal 2024-25 Western Conference NBA standings. Now, the biggest thing for me across this entire association this year is just how much parity there is. I honestly couldn't tell you who's going to be the 1 seed for sure out west at the end of the season, but I've got an idea, and we're going to get into that today. Now, you guys probably don't know too much about me, but you can see my shirt. I am a Warriors fan, and I have been since 2013, which is just before they got good. But I will let you know right now that I'm not a homer. And the Warriors are not even in my playoff spot right now. So just stick around and see where your favorite team is at. But to be honest with you, it might not be exactly where you want them to be. All right, so jumping on in, you can see that these things are organized into tiers. Now, the reason they're organized into tiers is because there's just so much nuance in the league right now. I can't tell you exactly where these teams are going to end up at the end of the season. But I have a general idea, and I will still have a 1 through 15. I'm just more... I think things are so close that it could be a game's difference that I think it's just better to separate them into tiers rather than a set locked in 1 through 15. So starting backwards, we're going to start at the number 15 spots. And at number 15, this is where I have the Portland Trailblazers. Now, the reason the Blazers are at 14 is simply because look at the rest of these teams out there. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. They're better. Every single one of these rosters remaining has at least an all-star on it or a borderline all-star. That's really all it comes down to. At number 14, though, this is where I have the Utah Jazz. Now, the reason the Jazz are at 14 rather than that 13 spot is just because I think the number 13 simply, again, has a better roster. I'm not going to spend too much time on these bottom tier teams because it all comes down to who I think has better pieces and less of a chance to end up with the number 1 pick at the end of the season. Simple as that. Now, moving to number 13, at this spot, this is where I have the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Spurs are at 13. I love Wembanyama. I think the Chris Paul Wembanyama connection is going to be really good. I love drafting Stephon Castle, but I don't see this team going beyond that 13, maybe 12 range with the roster they have. They're cool. They're good. Wembanyama will probably be an all-star this season, but it's just nothing beyond that. All right, moving on to our next tier at number 12. This is where I'm going to have the Houston Rockets. Now, the Rockets are at 12 because I like their roster. They've got a lot of good pieces. They've got Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Min Thompson. They've got Jalen Green year 4. Let's see if he'll continue to buy in defensively. They've got some Reed Sheppard. The GMs love Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard, 40% of the GMs in the NBA said that Reed Sheppard will be the best player out of this draft class in 5 years. I mean, they've got a lot to bank on. I don't think it's a play-off roster. I think it's a play-in roster. But when you're in the play-in, you have a chance to be in the playoffs. And I don't think this team belongs in the playoffs at all, which is why they're at number 12. And I feel similarly about number 11. All right, at number 11 is where I'm going to have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, the Clippers are at 11 for a similar reason. They've got good pieces, but they're older. It's literally on the opposite end of the Rockets. They're already dealing with injuries. Kawhi has not practiced with the team yet. The season starts in like a week and a half, and Kawhi has not practiced with the team yet. And I mean, it's going to be a James Harden show to start the season. Maybe he'll turn into 2018 James Harden, and he'll go out there, ball out. Don't think he'll average 36. Or that was 2019. But I don't think he'll average 36. But, I mean, there's not a lot to get excited about. They have really no young pieces. This is a team that was built to go push for a championship, and without Paul George, their connecting piece who is in the rotation night in, night out, it's not going to happen. And starting us off in the 5 through 10, the widest tier that we have in the West, at number 10, this is where I have the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Lakers are at 10 because I think that they've got an okay roster, and it's a roster that definitely won't put them out the play-in. But, I mean, they're banking on a leap. Anthony Davis and LeBron are still going to be Anthony Davis and LeBron, but who's going to be their third guy? Is it going to be Austin Reeves? Can Rui Hachimura go up to 15, 18 points per game? I don't know. And I think the bench still has a lot of question marks. And something that I don't like about the Lakers, I think they're pushing for a history for LeBron. And it's really, really cool that Bronny James is on the roster. But Bronny James is not ready for the NBA just yet. And it's shown in preseason, and he was the 55th overall pick. So I am in no way saying that the Lakers season relied on how the 55th overall pick performed. But I think they're going to try and force some things that don't exactly need to be forced. But Shams himself said that he expects Bronny to play on opening night. That alone is crazy. And maybe they're doing it just for the history. Maybe Bronny will check in for a few minutes and get subbed right back out. But I think even in those few minutes when you're not going for wins and you're going for history, I think stuff like that can affect your season. If they continue to do it throughout the season, that'll definitely affect the way things look out for them. Right next to the Lakers, and you'll probably see a pattern. This play-in race is going to look really similar to last year's play-in race. Just some spots moved around a little bit differently. But at number 9, this is where I have the New Orleans Pelicans. I love the addition of DeJounte Murray. That was a huge offseason move. They went out and got their guy. But Brandon Ingram is a free agent at the end of the summer, and he's got some questions. Herb Jones is supposed to be their starting 5. That's crazy to me. That is insane. So when I look at this roster construction, I just don't like it. The bench is solid. They've got some pieces. They've got an all-star in Zion, a borderline all-star. They have another all-star in DeJounte Murray. And they've got 2 people that could be, now I'm not saying they will be all-stars, but CJ McCollum has never been an all-star in his career. But he's always played like an all-star. He's been a 20-point per game scorer multiple times. They are a good team. Do not get me wrong. But I just think the way the team is constructed, they might have too many cooks in the kitchen, and I don't know how that's going to play out throughout the regular season. All right, and the best part of the video for me, I get to talk about my Golden State Warriors because they are my number 8 seed. I told you they weren't in the playoffs, but I will tell you that they are in the play-in. The team looks good in the preseason. There's so much I can say about the Warriors because they are the number 1 team I'm going to watch every single time they are on. I'm watching every single minute of the game. But I don't want to put too much stock in the preseason. Moses Moody has looked really good. He's leading the team in scoring during preseason. Jonathan Kuminga is right there with him. I think they're at literally 14.9 and 14.7 or something really, really close like that. Moses Moody has not yet been able to crack the rotation yet for Steve Kerr. I think that's insane, but it's just the truth. I still don't know what our starting lineup looks like. I don't know who our starting shooting guard is. I don't know who's getting those bench minutes. I don't know who's sharing the floor with who during the regular season. And it's stuff like that that just turns me off. I want to put my team higher. I do. I wish I could, but I just look at the teams that are left, and you tell me, and you're probably already saying that the Pelicans have a better roster, and I would not argue with you. I do think the Pelicans have a better roster, but I think when it comes down to how it'll look on the floor, I think the Warriors are going to look better as a basketball team than the Pelicans. And right there with the Warriors at number 7 for a lot of the same reasons. You could call it a rivalry. I don't really see it as one these days. I used to hate them, I'll admit. But it's the Memphis Grizzlies at number 7 for me. This injury history that they've had. They can't stay healthy, and that might suck for them. I mean, Gigi Jackson is already hurt, and he looked really, really good in his rookie year. They've already got some rotational issues. I think they've got some size issues. I also don't really know if I like the way they're built. I think they're going to be fun. It'll be entertaining. But when I look at this team, I don't see a lot to get excited about beyond probably a really, really exciting playing game against the Warriors. So with 6 spots to go, this right now is what I think the playoffs would look like in terms of teams. At my number 6, however, is the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Kings are at number 6 because I like the DeMar DeRozan acquisition. I think they have one of the clutchest duos in the, not even I think, they have one of the clutchest duos in the league now in DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox. They've got some spacing questions because DeMar DeRozan has historically not been a shooter. Domantas Sabonis can't shoot. But Keegan Murray can, De'Aaron Fox can, Malik Monk can. They've got a lot of guys on the end of that roster. My big thing that I don't really like is that I do not like that they have no backup center. Alex Len is in year 12 or something like that, and he's still getting 4th quarter preseason minutes. So I think that says a lot. That's really the thing that separates them from the rest of these playoff teams, in my opinion, besides the one they're right next to. You probably could have guessed by the way I alluded to it, but my number 5 team also has some bench issues, and that's the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns edge out the Sacramento Kings for me just because I like the starting lineup more. I like Tyus Jones as being a huge piece that they went and got this offseason. They needed a point guard, went out and did that. Of course, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are probably my favorite duo in the league right now. I think the star power is there. The bench, like I said, is iffy, but I think the star power is what gives them the edge over the rest of these teams in this tier and to end out this 5 through 10 tier. Alrighty, and 1 through 4, these in my opinion are the playoff locks if they have a healthy season. At number 4, starting us off, this is where I have the Dallas Mavericks. Now the Mavs are at 4 simply because I look at the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Nuggets, and I think they're all just better teams. They went out and they acquired Klay Thompson. I just look at the rest of that team, and I think the rest of these rosters are better. Our top three, this is where these things can get really, really tight. I think it'll once again be separated by like literally a game or a three-way tie record. However it ended last year. I think the Timberwolves were at number 3, 1 game behind, and then the 1 and 2 was split between the Nuggets. And that's honestly how things are going to shape up really pretty much once again. At number 3, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I had the Timberwolves at my number 2 spot before. But then they went and made the Cat trade, and I really, really hate the Cat trade. I hate bringing in Julius Randle for Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns was the perfect number 2 next to Anthony Edwards, and I think they just constricted things a lot more in the paint, and that's where Anthony Edwards loves to operate, inside. He loves to attack the rim, and now they have a front court of Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, and spacing-wise, it's not the best. Maybe Julius Randle can go out there and play like his 2021 self and shoot 40% from 3 again. I just don't know how likely that is. Once I show you who my number 2 is, you will know who my number 1 is. At number 2, I have the Denver Nuggets. And of course, that leaves number 1, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The pieces they brought in during this offseason are plug and play. Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein are going to go in and they're going to start and they're going to fit that system immediately, and they're going to play hard defense, and they're going to still look really, really good during the regular season. And I think it'll help them out during the playoffs too, having that defensive depth. And with the Nuggets, it's a little bit less, and they've also got some off the court stuff. I mean, I don't think Aaron Gordon is the type of guy to hijack the season. I don't think he gets the ball enough to even do that. But him not having his contract just yet and probably not getting it may affect things. And I think them losing KCP, bringing in Russell Westbrook, who's not really going to be as plug and play. It's going to take some time for him to gel, as that's where I think things are going to get disconnected. And that's pretty much it. Those are my 2024-25 Western Conference NBA standings. If you want a better idea of how I think everything is going to shake up, right here is the complete list 1 through 15 for you. It's going to be a really exciting season. Both conferences are super competitive. I cannot wait. So we will get into the Eastern Conference in my next video. But until then, peace.